Hey guys, it's Charlotte. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about um, mood reading, and specifically when you're feeling those vibes of misery and despair, and really a bleak book would be perfect to suit that mood. Now sometimes I pick up bleak books when I'm actually feeling bleak, and sometimes I pick up books when I'm bleak books when I'm actually like pretty happy and life's pretty great. So I think it just depends. But certainly when I'm in that sort of mood of uh, doom and gloom and misery, I feel like why not add to that by throwing in a really bleak book to, really kind of provide some light and shade. Like, your life really isn't that all that bad. You could be dealing with the stuff that is in the book I'm about to talk to you about. And so I guess it's kind of a good, um, on a serious note, it's also probably good to like hold up the mirror and be like, yeah, you're fine. You're not struggling with like the Grim Reaper. But I think in general, I do choose bleak, miserable books over kind of happy rom-coms or satire, because it just, I think it always seems to be the books that I go to always tend to involve either they're historical, so they involve like war, death, famine, just as a general thing, or they're more contemporary literary books, and so they're talking about kind of a lot of existential things and maybe criticism of society and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of books I read, I guess, are bleak, but these ones typically that I've picked up today, that I've read recently, well, some of them I've read recently, are really, I would say, more light horror. So if you are after that sort of bleak, miserable vibes, light horror, I don't think I've read anything true horror, but I am really interested to. So actually, if you have some good recommendations for some like good horror books, I wouldn't mind being freaked out right now. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to pick up a book called The Whisper Man by Alex North tomorrow. I get the library reservation of it tomorrow, and that apparently is so bone chilling that people like can't sleep. So I think that would be really cool. I really want to read that. Another book that I am going to add in this list is Lapvona, which is kind of a magical realism, light horror, historical fiction type book. But there is cannibalism in it, there is sexual subjugation in it, there is death in it, and so it is pretty miserable and pretty bleak. People don't treat each other very nicely, and so yeah, and so that I think is also giving pretty miserable vibes. And then another one that I read recently, and this is the one I read most recently, is A Fig for All the Devils, and this is basically about a little boy who has lost his dad, and a Grim Reaper, like the Grim Reaper, comes to see him, and he's like, right, I want you to be my apprentice and take over my position, because I've been doing this job now for 1,000 years, and so it's time for me to truly die and for someone to take my place as the Grim Reaper. And so this little boy kind of has a pretty miserable life going on. He has a horrible stepdad who wants to send him off to this camp for like a juvenile detention centre, basically. Even though he's a perfectly lovely kid, he just has a bit of an axe to grind, I think. And so his life will be miserable, and that's really all he can see. He doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, and she kind of is moving on with this other man. And so this Grim Reaper offer seems quite appealing, and so he lights the candle and says, yes, I will become the next Grim Reaper. And it's about kind of the little boy's life, really, and also with flashbacks to the Grim Reaper's life and why he became the Grim Reaper, which, as you can probably imagine, wasn't his choice. I don't think why would you choose to be the Grim Reaper necessarily. But yeah, so this, and eventually the child kind of, spoiler alert if you don't want to see the spoiler alert, maybe skip like the next 20 seconds, but the boy ends up not becoming the Grim Reaper, because the Grim Reaper himself sees his own father-son relationship with his own son in the boy and his dead dad, because the boy thinks he's going to be able to see his dead dad by being the Grim Reaper, which he won't be able to do. And so the Grim Reaper's like, actually, I'm going to take the bullet and I'm going to do another 1,000 years, because you have to sign up for every 1,000 years, and you're going to stay here and live your life on Earth and be happy, because in the process of becoming the Grim Reaper, you have to kill someone, and the boy was part way through killing his stepfather, and so the Grim Reaper kind of took the bullet and finished him off, so that the little boy didn't make the full transition into being the Grim Reaper. So it's all pretty miserable, really, and really about very vulnerable children and not being looked after very well. So yeah, it was pretty miserable and bleak, but excellently written, excellently plotted and paced. So on a technical level as well, it was really good. I'm also wanting to throw into the mix here a book that's coming out and is eligible for the Booker Prize this year, which is Where I End by Sophie White. This I haven't read this, but it's certainly on my radar and would fit this theme. And then there's also 2 others which I've tried and DNF'd, but would potentially suit other people and are within this same theme of bleak reads. And that they are, one is Devil House by John Darnielle, and the other one is Hawk Mountain. So Hawk Mountain is kind of about a father-son, and they meet this man on the beach one day, and the man is the friend slash bully of the father when they were in school, and so it kind of goes back through their relationship, and yeah, that's kind of all I know about that one. And then the Devil House one, that was more interesting. I held on with that for about 50% before DNFing. And that basically is about a journalist who goes and buys and lives in this house, I think somewhere in the north of the US, that has been labelled Devil House because there have been a series of murders in this house. And so he's going as kind of like a true crime reporter to write a novel about this book. And so it's kind of a book within a book, which I think is really fun. And for me, the only reason I DNF'd it really was that I felt like it was there was too many plot threads going on that weren't being kind of, it was all felt a bit everywhere. But other people will be able to persevere and enjoy that, and this does have some good ratings on Goodreads. So I wanted to throw this in just because it could be someone else's cup of tea. Because the initial premise does sound really intriguing. So yes, I think with that I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like March is a good time to be putting out oblique reads because we're kind of approaching that summer period, but it's still far enough off for us to really soak up the last of the wintry bleakness before we move into summer books and something a bit lighter, maybe, and like the good weather and whatnot. So yeah, so let me know down in the comments if you are a bleak reader, if you don't really at all. Some of these books can be labelled like horror. Are you a horror reader? If so, remember to please give me some horror book recommendations down in the comments below, because I don't think I've ever read a horror book and I would really quite like to. So as I say, my next read is The Whisper Man by Alex North, and I'm really looking forward to that. What is your next read? And put that in the comments down below as well, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys, thanks so much for watching.